You are listening to the Choose Your Struggle podcast, a member of the Shameless Podcast Network. I am so excited to tell you about my new CBD sponsor, Roadrunner. Y'all know I loved my old CBD sponsor, and I switched for one main reason. This stuff works. I've been a runner my whole life, but unfortunately I'm also super easily injured. One of my high school friends used to call me Mr. Glass. And back in 2015, when I ran my first half marathon, I got hurt, like really hurt. And since then, I haven't been able to run more than 3 or 4 miles without serious pain. That is until I tried Roadrunner CBD's Muscle Gel. In a few short months, I'm regularly running 5.5 to 6 miles each outing, and I'm currently training for my next half marathon. I don't want to call it a miracle cure, but it's damn near close. So check it out at my personal Roadrunner link, which is roadrunnercbd.com/ref/CYS. Again, that's roadrunnercbd.com/ref/CYS, or at the link in my show notes or on my podcast website. And use the code CYS at checkout to get 10% off on all of their awesome products. Check it out today. This week on the Choose Your Struggle podcast, it's Ray Kobeissi, but first, Kid Mental, let me hear you.
Things ain't always gonna go our way, but you can always win when you choose your struggle. And some battles are for yesterday, but today is for a new beginning. Choose your struggle, and don't worry about what they say, cause you can always win when you choose your struggle. And you can bounce back just as Jay. Come on and listen to Choose Your Struggles. Whoa, choose your struggles. Choose your struggles. Whoa, choose your struggle.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Choose Your Struggle podcast. So incredible to be with you all. I hope you enjoyed my conversation with Cynthia on Friday and the special episode with Nikhil Paul on Monday. I mean, that was a good couple of days for the podcast, and the numbers showed that people really liked both of those episodes. I am going to try to do more of those conversations with Nikhil and then from last week with Jay. I mean, those are fun. They're not, they're opportunities to do something a little different. I want to do more video, put it out on other places. And, this week obviously was the kickoff of A Day in the Life. So that'll be happening more, as well as next week. I mean, coming up on Wednesday is Rock Bottom 2 with some incredible storytellers. So definitely keep an eye out for more things coming from Choose Your Struggle, because I'm enjoying this. I'm getting settled in Philadelphia, going to be doing a lot more. Hopefully the world starts opening up again in the next couple months, and towards the end of the world, I mean, that is possible, but towards the end of the year, and I can be doing more in person. If you're in Philly, keep your ears open for that. And look, if you have ideas, if you have interest, like, hey, this could be cool, I'm always open to suggestions. I would love to hear from you. This intro is going to be shorter. I'm actually recording this and then recording Monday's episode, which is going to be a much longer conversation about a lot of things that are happening right now. So I'm going to keep this shorter. Not a lot of announcements this week, which is good. I mean, things are sort of getting back to normal for me work-wise after the disruption of moving. I'm still trying to get more people booked because I took a pause on scheduling people because I wasn't in a space to record, like literally physically was not in a space to record, but now I am. So, definitely working on getting that back up and going to keep these incredible episodes coming for you. There's some good episodes coming. I'm working with some people right now to get them scheduled. Some people that I really love, and I can already tell you the conversations are going to be unreal. So definitely keep here. Stay tuned. If you're not subscribed, if this was sent to you, just hit follow or whatever it is that it says on your app. Some say follow, some say subscribe. This week's episode is with someone that you have heard before because I released it as a special episode. I was on her show called Don't Be a Man About It with Rahaf, or also known as Ray Kobeissi. You heard this when I put out her episode, and now here she is as a guest on my podcast. She's a delight. She's one of those people that it's sort of amazing we got connected because she lives so far away in the UAE, and you know, the fact that we got connected, we've now been on each other's podcasts. We chat every couple of weeks, sort of bouncing ideas off each other. You know, she's someone I would love to have for a rock bottom or day in the life. Probably not going to happen because of time difference. Although I guess I could record something with her and put it out. But anyway, the fact is she's an awesome person doing really cool work with a very different life than mine in a lot of ways. But also, as you'll hear, we have a lot of overlapping experiences, and I think that's really meaningful, and it shines a light on how ridiculous a lot of these divisions are. Like, oh, you know, she's from over there and I'm from we have very similar experiences. So definitely enjoy this episode, and keep responding. I've gotten some really nice notes lately from people about the show, and I love it. I do. I mean, you know, it's hard work doing a lot of this work. As I said in last week's episode, going through kind of a change right now about what my work's going to look like moving forward. And hearing those is I appreciate it. So please keep them coming. Reach out on social media. Oh, I forgot to say this last week. The Roadrunner giveaway is still going. There's a couple more weeks in that. So again, follow me on all social media. Follow me on a social media and then send me a note and be like, hey, here are the other ones I'm going to follow you on. I don't have these. That's fine. All you have to do is follow me on at least a couple social media places and then reach out. It's very easy and you'll be entered to win. And I'll tell you, there's not that many people entered right now. I mean, there's some. It's not like whoever does this is going to win. There are some. That being said, there aren't that many. And so you have a pretty good chance to win a Roadrunner product. And Kyle is very excited about this, and Roadrunner is obviously, you know, I love them and their work. So definitely do that, reach out, and enjoy this episode. Nobody knows your mission better than you, but sometimes you need someone to help you move the ball downfield. Whether by telling your story a little bit better, creating a fundraising strategy, engaging stakeholders, or improving culture. That's where I come in. I'll bring a combined decade's worth of experience in nonprofits, consulting, and politics to help your organization reach the next level. I practice an internal growth model, which means I work with your team to make strategic improvements using your existing strengths. So if you're ready to take that next step, reach out. You can find me at my website, jshifman.com, and I can't wait to hear from you. Thanks for sharing the podcast with your friends. If you're listening on Apple, please rate and review, or check out the review link in the show notes. And don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
So my name is Rahaf Kobeissi, known as Ray, and the founder of Raiser Mental Health. It's to raise awareness on mental health and everything related to it, and I focus on men's mental health specifically.
So you and I got connected when you reached out over LinkedIn because
Yes.
you do what I do. And I've had plenty of people come on this show to be like, the reason I said yes to being on this podcast that I didn't know anything about was that you reached out and like you were a real person. You were like, let's talk about this. I'm really interested in that, you know, and that's not always the case on LinkedIn. And so I really appreciate when other people do that, because I get, as I'm sure you do, so many pitches and so many BS messages that when I get one that's actually real, it's refreshing. And that was what you did when you reached out to me.
100%. Thank you for highlighting this. Jay, I love personalized stuff. So I'm very old school when it comes to doing things in terms of if I want to give you a gift, there has to be a handwritten note. If I want to, I don't know, check in with you, it has to be with a voice note or singing or whatever. Because at the end of the day, business talking, whether it was business or personal, if you do not add some heart into it, and you know my story with the heart, then it doesn't really add value, and we won't be connected. So LinkedIn, yes, it is a professional network, but no one said that I can't send a voice note. No one said that I can't use emojis in my conversations. No one said that I cannot throw a joke every now and then. Yes, but we are humans, and some people tend to forget that. And I get a lot of messages. Like the other day, I got a message, "Hi, Rahaf Kobeissi, how are you? So I see you are in the marketing industry." And I was like, "No, I'm not. Like, did you check my profile?" So I tend to reach out to people the same way I would love to be reached out to.
and and you do it very well. Yes, for those listening, you and I talk by WhatsApp because you're not in the US, and you're not blowing smoke that all of a sudden I'll wake up, to a 30-second or 45-second voice message from you, just, hey, thinking of you, hope you're having a wonderful day. And like, those are super nice, and you're one of the few people I know who does that, who doesn't just text, but actually likes to have that personal touch.
I do. Thank you. Thank you.
So I mentioned this, but you're not in the US.
No, I'm based in Dubai. It's been almost 6 years.
But you're not from here, from there. So I think this is the great opportunity to tell your story. And that can, like I said, can be the 30-second or the, couple of minute version.
Interesting. All right. So I'm Lebanese. I was born in Qatar, raised in Dubai until I was 13 to 14 years old. And then my father's business went down the hill. So we had to go back to Beirut. I spent there almost another 13, 14 years, where I finished college, finished university, got heartbroken, did my first job and all of that. And then I just decided to come back to Dubai. So that's, I think, the 30-second version. But of course, whenever someone, for example, speaking of nationality, the other day someone was insisting on knowing where I am from, or else we wouldn't be having a business conversation. And then I was like, why would that matter to you? He was like, you look, I'm not going to say which nationality, but you look this and you look that. So I'm confused between both. I was like, how would that be relevant to having a training program? So, but I do consider my home is here in Dubai. It has welcomed me since I was a kid. It has given me a lot of opportunities. This is when Raise Your Mental Health gave birth. So yeah, I'm based in Dubai.
Well, yes. So first off, that sucks that happened. I mean, I can't imagine as a white guy I could be from anywhere. So I don't get that. My wife tells horror stories like that as a woman with brown skin, where she gets people who ask her, where are you from? And she's like, oh, I was born in, South Carolina. They're like, no, but where are you from? And she's like, you're asking what nationality am I, right? I mean,
what nationality, what religion, which sector, who do you follow, who do you lead? I was like, but this is, when you think about it, this is all about the mindsets that we have been collectively transmitting into one generation to the other, and no one has the, I don't want to say audacity, but no one has maybe the experience or the knowledge to break that pattern. And that applies to literally everything, business, personals, mental health, even issues, and all the stigmas that we will discuss later on. But it's all about the mindset and having the balls to break the pattern. So no one does that. Rarely.
It's true. And not only that, but I think that there's that's a lot about what you do, or my knowledge of your work. It's that, so you kind of ask the question of why not a lot, why can't we talk about this? Why, why can't we do this? And it's really interesting, as a woman who has dedicated herself to forcing men to talk about it. You have to have the biggest balls in the room, right? To be that person.
I hear that a lot. So yes. Well, where it's coming from? It's coming from a lot of, don't do that. Or what would people say if you do, or if you say that? So I come from a background where I was always judged, always shamed, always belittled, because I've left the house at the very young age to just start on with my journey. So I got a lot of comments from society, from neighbors, from even family. You're a woman. Why would you do that? Why wouldn't I? So that's when it came from. Like, I don't get it. What's the logic behind it? So now I do the same, as you said, with my clients. So, but I'm a man. So what? You're a human being. So you have the birthright to be sad, to be nervous, to be anxious, to be depressed, to be confused of, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with me. You have the right to be that person. and we'll find a solution. Now I'm learning how to be an expert with men's language. And because men are naturally born to be problem solvers, so I go into the perspective of, okay, so let's pretend, let's play a game. Sadness or your feelings, your emotions, whatever it is a problem. So let's imagine your brain is your company or your office, and your sadness and your emotions or your overthinking is a problem, is a crisis. What would you do? So by just speaking that language, the man would be more comfortable. Like, yeah, you're right. What can I do about it? Start with talking. Let's talk it out, because the more you talk, the more I could get insights of where is the problem and how can I help you? What are your stressors? You would be surprised, Jay, that most of the problems that men are going to, whether it was sadness or depression or anxiety or even suicidal thoughts, are coming from one source that could be, I don't want to say easily, but could be simply dealt with in a healthy way, where it could be a family member who is very critical, whether it was the dad or the mom or the wife. I say here the wife because I work mostly with men, or the work environment where his maybe superiors don't want him to be successful. They don't want him to be acknowledged or recognized. Imagine having to live that routine for years. Of course, things are going to pile up. Of course, you're going to be fed up. Of course, you're going to just not want to get out of bed because fuck this shit. But you know what I mean? So simple things, simple changes, but it all starts with just talking about it.
100%. And a lot of times you make such a great point that a lot of times the work we do to try to not deal with something is 10 times more exerting than just dealing with the thing, right? And that can be because we're scared of making a change. That can be because we're so defeated that we don't feel it's possible. But as you so perfectly said, if you put even a piece of that energy that you're taking to not deal with it towards dealing with it, that problem's going to be solved.
Yes, mic drop.
So if someone's thinking, okay, but this incredibly thoughtful person, like, why is she specifically dedicated to men's mental health? Like, you have a personal connection there. And I know you told me before we started that you're so bored of telling this story, but it's a good, like, you do have an incredible personal connection to men's mental health.
True. Well, in 2010, I lost my dad to suicide. He died by suicide. He was found in his apartment hanged, and I was his best friend. And I don't want to say best friend, but I was very, very, very close to my dad. And in my head, as a 23-year-old girl, my dad's just having a bad day. My dad, maybe he just misses his family. That's why he keeps on saying that things are going to be okay, or I'm not well, whatever. I wasn't able to read the signs or the symptoms. So for me, it was just a bad day. And then just a bad day became months and years, and no one paid attention. So that suicide was my wake-up call, not a wake-up call, it was just a sign for me to pay attention that, wow, something is wrong with us as a culture, as a community, as a society, and something is wrong with men. Why? So at the beginning it was, if he didn't trust me, why would he share other secrets with me? Whether it was the finances or relationships, why would I be so comfortable to go tell my dad about my first kiss? So there is trust. What is it? So I did a lot of research and thinking and observing and stuff. And then I observed, Jay, that in Lebanon or in the Middle East, men do not talk about their emotions, let alone they do not talk about their problems, let alone their emotions. So how was your day? It was good. Okay. Anything special about your day? No, the usual. Okay. The problem is that we take that as an answer. Oh, okay, cool. What do you want to do tonight? It's how you ask your questions without making that man feel that he's being interviewed or interrogated. It's just having a conversation. We do not know how to start a conversation. We do not know how to have a very, let's say, so if someone is depressed, we don't know what to say and we don't know what to do. So our mind tells us, just don't do or say anything. Just act like it's normal. That's what happened. My dad did not get the support system, did not get the attention, did not get the anything that would make him, maybe give him this 1% hope. And you and I, we know that every person who has suicidal thoughts, there's this 1% hope. He didn't even have that, because to hang yourself means you've given up completely. You've planned it and you've just, you're going for it. So I decided, after I've done my healing and my therapy and my self-improvement and all of that, and God, it took years. It took me years to just be that person. I decided to be what I couldn't be for my dad. I wanted to save other girls' dads. So that's how it started at the beginning. I don't want any girl to go through the pain that I went through, because gosh, it's so painful. So that's where it came from. And then I was like, wait, I could work with girls, like daughters, to make them see the signs, see the symptoms. It could be a dad, it could be a husband, it could be a brother. And then I was like, wait a second, I could go much more than that. So that's how it started. And that's why it really breaks my heart. It's physically painful for me when I see a man who I know for a fact is not feeling well, and their surroundings just can't see it. And I would be a freak or creepy if I would go to their table like, hey, dude, you need to take care of yourself. So that's why I do what I do. And I focus not only on coaching or training, but raising awareness. Like, people, these are the signs. So it's very personal to me. And this gave me a lot of heart into it, that, Lade, I got you. You are safe, or you are heard, you are seen. I've worked with a lot of men who meant a lot to them, that someone is seeing them. Just that. Really? Like, really? Does it have to be that hard? Do we really have to be talking in 2021 about being kind, being compassionate, being empathetic, being a human? So that's the whole thing about it.
Well, it is sad that we do have to be having those conversations, and your advocacy work is very cool. You not long after we connected, you did a whole thing. Was it the 10-year anniversary of your father? Was that what you were honoring?
Yeah. You remember?
Of course, I donated to your thing. It was a very cool campaign.
Thank you. So it was for his birthday. My friends and I decided to do a campaign to raise awareness on men's mental health in dedication to my dad's soul birthday. So that was, last November. We did some community activities, like we made people to come to run and cycle, let's go hiking, let's go do this cool stuff. But at the same time, just give me 10 minutes to tell you why does it matter to take care of yourselves, how mental health and physical health are related. How could you do that? And what happened to my dad? I don't want it to happen to you. And in parallel, we were also supporting an initiative that provides clean water for underprivileged families. So we ended up helping 51 families, and also like 4 men, maybe, or 5, reached out that, I'm so sorry to hear about your dad, but for some reason I could resonate with most of the things that you said. I was like, let's talk. So yes, I'm grateful that it happened last year. It's the first time that I do such a thing. Usually I do it in a subtle way, but it was beautiful. It was beautiful to see the amount of people who literally just showed up to celebrate my dad's birthday, and at the same time to save someone's life, whether they know it or not. So it was beautiful.
Well, as I said, it resonated all the way over here. You know, I was so moved by it that I donated to the water campaign. So it was very, very cool. And I always love, there is a level of, as you said, healing and sitting with these experiences. And then for a lot of people, that's all it is. And that's definitely okay. Just that part is enough. But the people like you who are able to then turn that into something that is beautiful and helps other people, like, that is such a special thing and such a rare thing that I never say no to those sorts of things. When I saw you were doing that, I was very happy to support.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. It means a lot. Thank you so much.
So before we actually get into all of your actual work and talk about what that looks like, let's stop and shout out where people can follow you online and check you out and all that kind of stuff.
Yes. So people can find me on Instagram at Raise Your Mental Health, Raise with a Y. LinkedIn, Rahaf Kobeissi. These two platforms are the most platforms that I'm active on. So LinkedIn, Rahaf Kobeissi, Instagram, Raise Your Mental Health. And I also have a podcast. You were my beautiful guest. Don't Be a Man About It. It's on Apple, Google, and Spotify.
And it's a great podcast. It is one of those ones that, I go on a lot. I was on 70 something last year, and maybe 5 I still listen to, and yours is definitely one of them because it's actually a good podcast. So I not only appreciated getting to go on, but as my listeners know, I released it as a special episode here, and now here you are. So definitely check out Don't Be a Man About It.
Y'all know I love to read, and almost every episode of this podcast includes a recommendation to check out an awesome book. From Adi Jaffe's Abstinence Myth to Johann Hari's Chasing the Scream, I'm constantly looking for new books to learn from and enjoy. That's why I'm super excited to partner with Bookshop. Bookshop is a wonderful website that helps you find all your favorite books and support your local neighborhood bookstore in the process. I've bought everything from textbooks to Star Wars novels on Bookshop, and I've supported my local store with each transaction. Best of all, my Bookshop link will allow you to see all the books I've mentioned on the show right in one spot. So check out Bookshop today using the link in my show notes, or go to bookshop.org/shop/CYS, and you'll find all the awesome books you want and support the podcast in the process. Check it out today. Subscribe to my Patreon for behind-the-scenes looks at the podcast, sneak peeks, and bonus data. You'll also get a discount on Choose Your Struggle merch. Find it at patreon.com/chooseyourstruggle.
So let's actually talk about your work, because as I said before, there is a level of people who go through a traumatic experience like yours, and then, that's it. That's all they're able to do, and that's fine. But then there's that very extreme minority who then turn that into something, which is what you've done. So talk about that journey a little bit. You kind of touched on that, but what was it actually like going, all right, I'm going to do all this. That's your big dream. But like, what did that actually look like starting this work and taking it to where you are today?
So I'm going to start from the very beginning, when I had no idea how to do it. I want to be someone that people go to when they have a mental health issue in terms of mindset. So that's the distinction that I want to make here. Yes, I raise awareness and I help to the maximum, but I'm not a therapist. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm someone who works with mindsets and energies, and I have my own way of making people feel better and be better and heal in a technique that I'll let you know about it. So at the beginning, I was like, okay. So I quit my job. I used to be a corporate employee, suits and all of that, 9 to 5. But I was working with a micromanager, and I was working with someone who, when you ask him to get one day off to take care of your mental health, he would think you're a lunatic, so he fires you. He wouldn't recognize you. So that manager basically made me think that, wait a second, I'm this close to have a burnout. So I quit my job, and I was like, I'm done. So it took me, Jay, like, I don't know, 5 to 6 months of planning and thinking and visualizing. Okay, so I want to help companies to have a healthier environment where it really focuses on the well-being part and to see the relation between having a healthy working environment and profitability and productivity. But at the same time, I work with individuals who could be in my dad's shoes or just are stressed or anxious. How do I do that? And I'm not sure if I ever said that, but I was drunk and I was sitting with my friend. She's also drunk. And I was like, what do I do? Just tell me, how can I just make people understand? She was like, girl, you've got the story and you've got the skills. Just be a coach. And I was like, huh? What? You're like, you're coaching us already. We come to you so you could listen to us and tell us what to do. And you have this amazing skill that you don't actually tell us what to do, but you do in a way that is not really, you don't impose it on us. So just do what it has to do. If there's a certificate for that, I'll pay it for you. Just do it. And it sounded like a great idea. So yeah, that what happened. The next morning, I was just checking out the skills that I need to actually just, because at the end of the day, I am not a business coach and I'm not someone who would help you reach your fitness goals. I am dealing with anxieties. I'm dealing with stress. So it's a responsibility. Yes, I do have my story and it gives me a lot of credibility, but I also have to be very aware of the skills or the techniques, because you know that what works for you doesn't have to work for me as well. So I wanted to learn more about the human behavior, the psychology, the mental health, all of that. So I spent a lot of time studying. That's all I did. I studied a lot. And then I started practicing what I'm studying with friends or with people I've worked with before. Slowly but surely, my business just started growing, and I started working with the people that I want to work with, which are business leaders. So now I work with CEOs, entrepreneurs, business owners, chairmen, managing directors, all of those C-suite level people on transforming their mindsets, on learning the language, how to express themselves when they are frustrated, how to say that I'm not okay without hurting their ego, which is something else that I would love to just make men understand, that it's not about the ego, but it's a good start anyway. So I work with them on giving them the skills. So one, I give them the space. I hold the space for them to talk and to express themselves, knowing that it's confidential. After they do that, I work with them on having the skills and the tool set to manage their anxiety, to manage their stress, to transform their mindset. There are a lot of overthinkers out there. So I work with them closely to turn that self-critique voice into a self-compassionate one. How can you be compassionate with yourself? That's what I do with them, let's say from 6 months to a year max. And after that transformation happens, you cannot imagine the joy in my heart and theirs, like, oh my God, I did it. And it's always, what I say is, it always begins by just looking at two things, just very simple two things. One, what are your habits? What do you do when you wake up? What do you do before you sleep? Who do you talk to during the day? And the second thing, who are the most top 5 or top 6 people that you spend your time with? I used to spend a lot of time with people who only want to go out for shisha and drinks, and they don't want to discuss anything else but nails and hair and makeup and Botox and fillers. And I was like, Jesus, fine. Let's discuss something else. Talk to me business, talk to me future, talk to me money, talk to me about anything. But so I kind of became one of them. And then I took myself out of it. And once I did that, I became a better person. And when I say better person, it works for me. I am not that kind of person. It was draining my energy. It was draining my creativity and my imagination. And it also affects your productivity at work or creativity at work or your communication. So who are you spending most of your time with? And people would say, why would it matter? It would matter because most of the words that we use with ourselves, for example, I'm stupid, I'm silly, I'm not good enough, oh God, I screwed this up. Where is that coming from? If you look closely, it's coming from people you spend your time with. It could be a colleague, it could be a manager, it could be a wife, it could be a sister, it could be a neighbor. You don't know where you're getting that from, and your mind saves it. It's like a computer, it saves it, or it's like our phones when it saves what we, what we talk about. So it gives you that ad. Our mind is the same. So when I work with them just on these two things, you cannot imagine the magic that happens. There's no, I don't want to say there's no stress anymore. There is stress, and sometimes it's a positive thing, but they would know what to do with it. How to set boundaries, how to say no when they feel like it without having to say, but Ray, what would happen if I don't know what? And then was like, okay, so let me give you an example. What if I fail? All right, what if I succeed? They would just look at me like this. It gives me the face that they didn't even go there. They didn't even think of what if I succeed. So that's what I work. I feel like I'm talking too much, but that's what I work with them on. Mindsets, not meditation, mindfulness techniques, cognitive behavioral therapy techniques, because all of that just focuses on working up there that aligns you with your heart, your soul, and they combine together to tell you, all right, dude, we have your back.
And there's a certain level of authenticity that comes with what you do and who you are that goes beyond just your story, just your education, from, again, going back to the celebration of your father to, just what you post on social media. You're not one of those people that turns this off, right? I mean, this isn't a kind of thing where, like you were saying before, with your 9 to 5, it's like you're done, you're going to go home and kick back. Like, yeah, you might be doing that, but you're still living these ideas in this life. You practice this stuff yourself the same way I do, and that level of authenticity shines through.
I'm so glad you brought this up. First of all, thank you so much. Authenticity is, I have two words that are always mine: authenticity and gratitude. Yes, so I have been advocating for mental health even before my dad died. So but I did not know that it has a term. I did not know that, oh my God, this is called mental health. But I've always been doing these paying it forward campaigns, for example. I want to pay it forward to someone. And until now, there's a coffee shop that I go to almost every week where I would pay for 2 coffees, one for me and one for whoever's coming after me. And they would look at me, are you okay? I was like, yeah, just ask that guy or that lady to have a nice day and to pay it forward as well. So now it became a habit. Authenticity is very important for me because I have dealt with a lot of what we call professionals, but when you work with them or when you even have a conversation with them, you would know that, oh my God, this is purely commercial for them. They saw a trend and they're just following it because it could be a moneymaker. No, I don't want that. And I don't want to be that person. And I think we had that conversation, me and you, and I told you, Jay, I don't want to be a commercial coach. I have the opportunity to be that, but I don't want to. So now I'm just getting my clients out of word of mouth, of referrals. Yes, I post a lot of content on social media, but I do not, my action, call to action is always just share your thoughts, share your comments. Never DM me for more details. Or if you're looking for some coach to work with you, to be that person, it's not wrong. Good for you if you're doing that, and good for you if you're making money out of it. But I just want people to get into my account and get something out of it. Why do people or coaches or professionals hold back from sharing techniques or tools that could help people in their daily lives? For example, there's someone I unfollowed a while back. If you're having anxiety, if you're having stress, DM me and I'll tell you what to do. No, tell them what to do now. You know what I mean? So why are you being so stingy
Yeah.
about helping people? So that tells me you're really not genuine about helping people. It's just a business for you. I don't want to be that person, and I don't want to be dealing with people like that. It would literally make me feel uncomfortable to see that that person is trying to take advantage of my pain. That's why I'm doing my best. We have to make money at the end of the day, but I would rather get the clients or the business out of word of mouth to say, for example, you would go to someone and say, oh my God, this girl, she does an amazing job with this and this and this. You have to have a conversation with her. That's much more valuable to me than just me having a sponsored ad and tell people to work with me, if it's making any sense. Yeah.
I completely agree. That yes, that it makes a lot of sense. And in the business or the line of work that we do, there are plenty of people doing it that way, that I think that when you don't do that, such a commercial spin on this work, it shines through, and the authenticity is one of the first things that you see, and it does make it harder sometimes to put a dollar amount, or to bring in that money. But I'm with you. I would rather work with people who are really about this, or turn away people that aren't a good fit, than work with those that are not in line with what I'm trying to do.
100%. Yes, 100%.
So before we go to our final questions, let's stop again and one more time. If people are really picking up what you're putting down and are super interested in learning more, where can they find you? Where can they reach out?
Okay, so as I mentioned, LinkedIn, Rahaf Kobeissi, Instagram, Razor Mental Health, and my email is Rahaf at Razor Mental Health. That's where they could find what I do on a continuous basis, where I share my programs or my upcoming events. I would say LinkedIn. That's where people, we're getting Rahaf for an event, we're getting Rahaf for this. So that's where they can find me. But if they want to have a direct conversation with me, send me an email to rahaf@razormentalhealth.com.
And check out Don't Be a Man About It, which is a wonderful podcast.
Thank you for that.
All right. So I always finish with the same questions. Number one is, not just during the last year and a half now, but before COVID even, what are the self-care tips that work for you?
Oh, okay. You're talking about raise self-care or just for people? They're different.
Just yours, what works for you. Yeah.
So mine would always be a bubble bath with a glass of wine, and
Wonderful.
Scented candle, light music, sometimes something to watch. That would be always my go-to self-care. And then what comes next is really depending on my mood. I don't know if this would resonate with you, but it depends. Like I would ask myself, okay, what do I need right now? So sometimes it could show up like just going for a walk. It could show up for a good cry. It could show up like coloring. I realize that I love coloring when I'm stressed, but it really depends. So bubble bath, going for a movement, let's put it that way, movement. So it could be dancing, it could be walking, it could be doing some yoga, it could be sleeping, crying, whatever that is. But it also depends on what do I need right now. I always ask myself, okay, Ray, what do you need? Sometimes it's ice cream. Sometimes it's having a call with you or someone, or sometimes just a cup of coffee on the balcony, no phone, no laptop, nothing. I just want to sit in silence. So that would be it. What do I need? And I give myself that.
That so wonderful. I've had, from now going on over 80 episodes of this, I've had everything said from making soap to self-love to, the whole spectrum. This is the first time someone has said bubble bath. So nice work. You are the first one with that. That's wonderful. All right. So last question is, we've now spent the last 40 minutes or so learning why we should follow you, why you're doing amazing work and you're incredible. But who are some people that you are reading, watching, listening to, following on social media that we should all go check out?
Wow, yes. So I'm bad in names, so I literally have to check out my Instagram to do that. But there's this guy, let me show you, who is he? I recently followed him, and I was amazed by how much he's adding value on mental health and personal development. Yes, so his name is Jordan Peterson. Go follow his account, and oh my God, the value that you would find in his account, the way he speaks of um, mental health. And there is also, just give me a second, I'm so sorry, but I'm Dory. So there's a basketball player that could be surprising for you, but his name is Kevin Love. And
Yes.
Kevin Love is one of the people who I also, that would sound weird, but it's like I always want to check in on him to see what is he posting these days, because he has struggled with depression and he came out and spoke about it. So he's one of the guys that I just want to make sure he's okay, because I know that not now, maybe one day I would have him on my show, but he's one of those men that I feel that people are having a understanding of who he really is. They just see the success, they just see the fame, they just see the money and the wife, but they don't really see how in pain he is. So these two people, I just keep an eye on them on social media. But when it comes to feeding my mind, it also depends what I'm focusing on. So these days I'm more into psychology and human behavior. So I'm just reading books on that.
Wonderful. Well, Ray, thank you so much for taking the time. It's always delightful chatting with you, and I know that my listeners are going to love this.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And, anything for you, Jay. You're one of the very few guests that I really connected with and I keep in touch with. So I appreciate you. And thank you so much for being and existing. What else? Yes, that's basically it. I hope that one day we get to have a conversation face to face.
Yes, or share a stage. That would be wonderful.
Oh, that would be amazing. That would be awesome. Yes. All right, sponsors, do your job.
Find me on social media. Check the link in the show notes or search for me, Jay Shifman, on YouTube and LinkedIn, and Choose Your Struggle on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All right, we've come to the end of another episode of the Choose Your Struggle podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's always great to be here with you all. Thank you to Ray for that awesome conversation. She was fantastic, as expected. She is just doing fantastic work, and I really enjoy our connection and, the way that we get to learn from each other, because we do a lot of that. So we're using another new card pack this week. This one is called Mindful Reminders, 52 Powerful Practices for Teens and Adults. It's by Dr. Chris Willard and Mitch Alblet, also a doctor. So thank you to them for this card pack. Here you can hear it. So today's card says, wait for it. Hamilton fans out there? Waiting, ? In line for a friend for an appointment for a meeting to begin? Put away your phone and just take in your surroundings. That's a great tip. And that's one that I really struggle with. I hate waiting, even if it's like a minute, I'm just like, ugh. And I think it's because there's this sense of like, I mean, this is so stupid, but there's this sense of like, I shouldn't be alive today, right? I talk about that a lot. Like, everything I went through when you attempt suicide twice in 2 days, when you overdose, like you're not supposed to make it. The odds are very strong against you, but I'm still here. And so now I'm like, I don't want to waste any time, and that's a problem sometimes, because it means that I'm much quicker to pull the trigger and just be like, screw it and move on, when I shouldn't. And nowhere is that more clear than waiting for things. I just hate it. But that's a good tip, and that's one that I should do more. I should work on, because that's a really important aspect of life, is waiting well. because we wait a lot. We do. And when you do it poorly, it just stresses you out. So definitely going to work on that. And I think a part of that is your good egg for today. And that is being a good neighbor, a good community member. You know, my wife and I just moved into our new place in Philadelphia in a community that is sort of, I don't want to say divided, that's not the right word, but there is a division between those who have been here a long time and a force of gentrification. And it's not the traditional sort of all white people and all black. Like that's not what it is. It's just there are definitely people who have been here very short term and some people who've been here a long time, and they have different ideas on what this neighborhood should be. And one of the things my wife and I pledged when we moved here is that we were going to be positive forces to the neighborhood. That meant not being like, you know, it meant not driving change, instead helping to build, if that makes sense. And something, you know, we're going to do a good job of helping pick up trash. And there's a neighborhood community garden that, you know, my wife wants to get involved, and just stuff like that, where it's like, we want to make sure that we are positive forces here and not negatives. And that means even if we don't love something, but it's a part of the community, then being a part of protecting that, you know. And sometimes that means, you know, waiting and not getting exactly what we want, but that's okay. And not only that, it's a good thing at times, because it's not all about what what we want, you know. And overall, in the grand scheme of things, oftentimes what those of us who are new want isn't right. You know, it especially if we don't understand the full scenario yet. And like I said, I've been here a week, so clearly if I wanted something to change, I wouldn't, I don't deserve that to be the case. I just got here. So I think that all comes in together. And so what your good egg is be a good neighbor, you know, listen to someone else's opinion. Even just stop and say hi to someone that you see every day, whether they are homeless or, you know, a member of your community that you normally shun. Take a moment to acknowledge them and recognize that they are also a part of your community. So that's your good egg. But above all else, as always, be vulnerable, show your empathy, spread your love, and choose your struggle.